Here we go. Do you need the question in it, or are we okay?
I don't need the
Okay. It has been a while, obviously, since I've made a record, and I think I haven't really felt like making one because I think someone like myself doesn't necessarily feel relevant in terms of making new music. I know people still kind of want to hear the old songs, you know, and they're happy to come to a gig and go have a trip down memory lane. But I think social media's changed that in my mind a little bit, because you can actually see that fans want you to make a new record, because they'll tweet in or they'll Facebook and they'll whatever, and they kind of say, went to the gig last night, loved it, when are you going to make a new record? Please make a new record. And eventually, it just kind of, there's so much of it that eventually you kind of get the confidence to think, I'll make a new record. And I'm always dabbling around with music anyway in my little studio at home, but it's just coming to that moment where you think, I'm going to let people listen to this. You know, I'm going to see if somebody wants to, you know. So yeah, it's been an odd experience, I think, yeah.
I was listening downstairs to the tracks.
Right, great.
They're fantastic.
Oh, thank you.
And very gospel-y and very uplifting.
Yeah, there is a bit of gospel going on there. I mean, maybe real gospel would look at it and kind of say, that's not gospel. But maybe it's gospel inspired, let's say. There's something kind of a little bit inspirational in quite a few of the lyrics, I think. And maybe that's just because I'm 50 this year, and I knew through the process of making this record, I kind of knew that was coming. And maybe it's just a time to look back on your life and look back on your life at people who've been in your life and been there for you and what have you. And some of the titles and some of the lyrics, there's a song called Angels on My Side, and it's literally meant to be a kind of a thank you to the fact that I've always had people there for me, you know what I mean? I know I've kind of been a solo artist through, you know, my career and what have you, but without the people around me, it wouldn't have happened. And sometimes that can be just tiny little instances of someone just opening a door for you, or it can be somebody who's done it all with you, you know what I mean? So
turning 50 with an upbeat album, what's your life philosophy at 50? I'm kind of getting the impression you're quite positive.
I'm a northerner, so I can be quite negative as well, but I don't call it negativity, I call it realism. Reality. I think in terms of music, I think I do get moved a lot of the time by songs that do have a turnaround in them, that do kind of make you feel better, even if the lyric is quite a tough lyric and what have you, but the end of it, for me, I kind of like it to have a turnaround. I think I like movies like that. I think all human beings, we respond to movies that at the end of the day, there's a payoff that makes you feel either better or at least connected to something, you know. I think I've always felt like that, but I think as you get older, you kind of cherish certain things, or just life itself, and the people that you've known and friends and family and stuff. I think that more and more, because you are probably getting closer to, you know, it all ending at some point, you know what I mean? So you kind of hang on to it a bit more, I think.
What do you think the 50-year-old you would say to 21-year-old you, you know,
Yeah, interesting. Interesting. I wouldn't change anything that happened, if I'm honest, because I'm grateful for everything that happened, and I'm grateful for where I am right now. So I don't think, I wouldn't like to kind of go back and say, don't do this and maybe do a bit more of that, because you don't know how that's going to impact everything. Having said that, I think I would go back and just sort of say, just chill out a bit more, because I think kind of fortunately, but also maybe not so, my first single was a bit of a monster, and once that happens, within like the record company, you're a priority all of a sudden. And one minute, no one knows who you are, no one cares. The next minute, you're doing things that you're not really interested in doing when you're 21. You know, I always had dinner with the CEO of the company wherever we went. You know, we'd go to a certain territory and what have you, and you're going out to some kind of like amazing restaurant and da-da-da, but I don't want to do that. I want to go for a drink with the girls who work in whatever. Do you know what I mean? It's just a weird existence, I think, at 21 to be thrust into that. And if you were a band, if there's 4 or 5 of you, you'd probably get on with it a bit more because you'd still have your bubble and what have you. But I was a kid, you know what I mean? And I was doing a lot of things that I wasn't really interested in doing, you know. So.
What do you think 21-year-old you would say to you now?
Wow. Yeah, that's a weird one. Also, I think because when I was 21, if someone was 50, they were old, and I'm still old now, I get it, but I think these days 50 isn't what it was, and I know I would be saying that because I'm 50, but I think it's true. I think age is a very, very different thing than what it was 30 years ago. That's an odd thing to say, but it is. I think it's true. I've got loads of friends who are my age and even a bit older, who are doing things with their lives that you wouldn't dream that people would be doing, you know, because you get to 50, it's pipe and slippers time, and it's like, you know, you're getting ready for retirement, and that's not the case anymore at all, you know. So I don't know really. That would be, I have no idea what I would say, to be honest. Yeah.
And you're touring, obviously.
Yeah.
Going well. I read.
Yeah. No, I mean I think that's one of the things back in the day when I had those hits and everything, because you sold lots of actual physical records in those days. Everyone around me that was the thing to do, is to try and sell the records. It wasn't about touring so much because, or even just singing, to be honest. It wasn't about music a lot of the time, I felt. It was kind of, you're on this treadmill of kind of selling this, what was kind of a product, I guess, you know, to some degree. And yet for me, it was like, no, hang on, we're making music, but the whole business is about selling something. It's not about making the music. Once you've made it, it just becomes about selling it. Whereas today, it's more about me doing gigs than anything. And I do far more gigs a year now than I ever did when I was actually back in the day, like proper famous and having the hits. It was all about going on TV and radio and doing press and stuff, promotion. Whereas now it's more about gigs, and I gig sort of everywhere all over the world, and, you know, from Australia to South America, Japan, what have you, and everywhere in between. And I love it. It's amazing. And also I'm not under that pressure that I was then, because, like I say, I was a priority artist because I'd had those, you know, big hits and stuff. Whereas now I'm a bit under the radar, so I just go and do the gigs and just, you know, get off on that and really love it. So. What
are the shows like for you? I mean, you must have all these fans and have to still have such a following as well from.
Yeah, it's kind of weird because obviously a lot of those people are my age as well, but again, I think that's a sign of the times that I think some decades back, if you were the whole YouTube thing has changed people's whole perception of everything. I think in terms of, you know, you used to buy a record, a physical thing, and play it, and now it's just kind of on there, and you're kind of looking at it, but you're also looking at the TV while you're doing your emails. Do you know what I mean? It's just. So I think it's the age of people is completely different because they're just listening to stuff and watching stuff and absorbing it in a totally different way. So.
And speaking of social media and YouTube, how do you feel about the whole Rickrolling?
Yeah, it's pretty